Man opens secret door under his kitchen table and uncovers some hidden secrets of his house. Simon had never imagined something like this would happen to him. He had seen it in thriller movies and had heard stories about it. Prior to the incident, this was a part of a human's imagination for him. However, his perception got changed drastically when he bought a house amid a forest. He loved nature because he had seen only the beautiful aspects of it. But this time he was going to see something unbelievable. The man moved into the house soon after making the purchase. He decided to inspect his house once again, and it is then he noticed a secret door on the floor of his kitchen. Well, the previous owner had not told him about it. He wondered what was inside it but could not gather the courage to unlock it. However, one day he decided to face his fear and he finally opened the door to some big mysteries. You won't believe what he found there. Simon was a globe-trotter. He loved traveling, and after that what he loved the most was getting lost in nature. The man would never miss out any opportunity of getting closer to nature. He would often go out on hiking or fishing in his leisurely times. He was fond of forests and preferred spending most of his time around trees. The man now wanted to get settled in the forest. He was looking for a suitable house. Well, the man did not have to wait long, as he soon found himself a perfect home. Much to his surprise, the rate was way lower than they had expected. Perhaps, nature too wanted to have him closer. Or maybe there was something else. Simon was happy not knowing what was about to be followed. The house was small and beautiful. The guests were in awe, as finding a beautiful house like this that too in such a low price is next to impossible. Simon himself could not believe in his luck. It was actually suspicious how the man got this stunningly beautiful house in such a cheap amount. He was soon going to figure out. Finally came the day when he moved into his house. Everything seemed perfect to him. He definitely had hit a jackpot by buying the house without spending lots of fortune, at least that is what he thought. His first rude awakening happened when he saw a secret door in his dining room. The door was under the dining table onto the floor. There was something beneath the floor that he had not been informed about by the previous owner. Something was definitely not right. He wanted to investigate, but he loved his house and did not want any reason to leave it. It was really strange. What could be inside that door? Why was he not informed about it? Perhaps, the owner forgot to tell, or maybe he himself did not know about it. The questions triggered curiosity in him. Maybe it was shut because it was meant to hide something. Maybe a secret that could be ugly or scarier. Though he really wanted to unhinge those doors, he could not muster up enough courage. He decided to ignore it. But the question was, for how long was he going to avoid that door? For the time being, he placed the table above it. Even though the door was out of his sight, he still could not get the thought off his mind. However, he managed to keep off the urge for some while, but soon his curiosity took over his fear and he opened that door. But that did not happen before some guests came to his house. Simon was very excited about showing his home to his friends and family. His friends and family were amazed and a bit of envy too. Whereas his friends were still exploring his place, Simon went to the kitchen to make some tea for them. The mysterious door was sitting quietly beneath the table. Little did Simon know the quiet door was going to bring in chaos in his life. His friends loved his house but grew a bit skeptical when they entered his kitchen. They found the placement of the table really odd and asked him the reason behind it. Simon told them about the door that he never dared to open. Well, all his friends could not hide their astonishment at Simon's indifference. In fact, many of them suspected that Simon was hiding something behind those doors. After all, who misses out on the opportunity to explore a mystery like this? His friends pushed him to look through it, and that really gave him a lot of courage. The day got over. His friends and family got back to their homes. But the thought of opening the door still lingered in his mind. That day too he could not sleep, wondering what was behind those doors. He kept staring at the door for hours that night. It was a strange feeling. He was excited and scared both at the same time. His curiosity was not in his control now. The man had spent many sleepless nights wondering what could be inside that door. Why would anyone make a door onto the floor? Interestingly, the door was carved very carefully. Clearly, it was done on purpose. But why? Whoever cut out the door made sure it remained hidden from people. The man would not have noticed that, had he not inspected the house carefully. And his friends managed to find it because of the odd placement of the table. The thought made him question his decision about opening the door. Was it really a wise idea? A secret door in a lonely house that is located in woods. Does it not sound like a story of a scary movie? Simon felt in the same way. Why would anyone dig a secret room and then put a door to it? Clearly, the door was meant to be hidden. It means there has to be something really important behind that door. Maybe something he would regret seeing. Though the Imgur user was scared, he very much wanted to know what was behind that suspicious door. And so he gave in to his curiosity and called in a handyman John to look into it. John was his close friend that had worked as a handyman. John is an adrenaline junkie, and Simon thought John would surely love to be a part of it. Simon did not want to miss a single detail, so he started documenting his journey that started with the opening of the door. He began to write a post on Imgur. The man took the title Sir Bumsalot to document the venture. Never had the guts to open it, the handyman came by and was all too eager to have a look, Imgur user wrote. It would be wrong to say that the handyman was not scared. Though initially, he was excited about the project, fear came over him after he displaced the table. Maybe he should not go ahead with it. He regretted his decision, but now there was no going back. Their nightmare had just begun. Soon, the handyman learned something important about the door. John noticed that the wood beneath was rotten and weak. Not only that, the whole of the inside was full of venomous funnel weaver spiders. It is noteworthy here that bites from these spiders can prove very fatal for human beings. Human flesh rots if they get bitten by these spiders. Clearly, they had started off on a wrong foot. What were they going to do now? The user had no intention of killing any of the spiders. They were giant and scary. Instead of swatting them, the user and his handyman decided to remove them one by one. The duo had put their lives on the line to find out what the door was keeping. It took them more than an hour to remove the spiders. However, even after getting toiled for more than an hour, their zest did not fade a bit. In fact, it took a leap when they finally did away with the cobwebs. They released the spiders in the wild and headed back to the door. It would be wrong to say that they were not scared. But their curiosity was bigger than their fear. And they had decided to unravel this mystery once and for all. Little did they know that the journey they had undertaken was going to make Simon confront some uncomfortable truth about his house. The cellar had an unbearable smell. The ladder had gone rusty, and the broken concrete lining around the hole made it clear that it was not unlocked for years. There was a hint of iron and moldy rust that had added to the foul smell of the hole. Simon took out his flashlight and started moving it to see the hole more clearly. It was then he saw some movement. There was a shadow. It certainly scared the hell out of them. They actually saw something moving. Was someone residing inside this filthy hole? Suddenly a train of thought started in Simon's mind. All of a sudden, all the bad incidents that had happened in this particular woods began to cross his mind. One of them seemed to be closest to the truth. He had heard numerous tales about the disappearance of hikers in this particular wooded region. None of those missing hikers were found. Their disappearance remained a mystery to the world. Does that mystery have a connection with this hole? He was soon going to figure out. He tried to recall when was the last time he had heard about the disappearance of someone in this wooded area. His assumption did make some sense. But who was behind all this? Was he inviting a threat? Well, he definitely was. They covered their nose with their hand as the smell was only getting stronger. Simon got a ladder and climbed down the hole. They had to be very careful while climbing down from the ladder towards the darkroom. Many spiders were crawling on the wall beside them. He closed his eyes in fear. They had come halfway the ladder when Simon felt a touch. There was something moving on his right shoulder. Scaringly, it was going up towards his ears. No need to say, it made his blood run cold. He stayed still for a second, not knowing what to do. But soon grabbed it with his hand, threw it away. He kept moving downstairs until he felt the touch of damp earth. The man looked around the room. He later wrote, "Yeah, creepy." No need to say the darkness spread inside the hole had only added to the scary scene. There were a lot of thoughts swirling inside his mind at the time they were stepping into the forbidden hole. So what did he think the cabin was? He wrote, "There seems to be a faucet. And ventilation. A bomb shelter maybe. Or a cistern." And then he saw something that made him rooted to his spot. The next thing totally blew their mind off. He saw what he called the unidentified gnarliness. It appeared as if some kind of slime was hiding in the room's corner. The trough was vast enough to fit a human body. It was full of mysterious ooze. By the appearance, it seemed that the ooze was there for over a year. But how did it occur here? And what was beneath it? Simon thought the ooze to be mold or fungus. Or it could be just stagnant water, or maybe the combination of all of it. But he could not rule out the possibility of another kind of substance in it. Maybe the mix had human remains as well. The man could not risk touching the object with his bare hands, so he picked a stick and began jabbing the trough with it. He said, broke up the unidentified gooey mass. The man still had no idea what was he dealing with. This all seemed like a big mystery. The handyman tried to make out what this ooze was made of, as it was giving away such an unbearable stench. The only thing he could understand was that whatever it was not a chemical. It was alive and organic. What could it be? The walls too were covered with the slime and mold. He did not know for how long the slime was there, but he could assume it must have been for years. The man was putting up in the cabin for many years now, and this mysterious object was hiding beneath him. The roots had begun to spread on the scummy sides, and there was no light around. It was the scariest sight he had ever seen in his life. He doubted that the slime was the liquefied remains of a human. Well, the thought sent the chill down his spine. He did not want to stay there any longer. The view was disgusting, and he rushed back to the ladder. The duo soon found themselves back in the kitchen. They sat on the floor for a while. Simon had no intention of going back inside the hole, whereas the handyman was still curious. John climbed down once again, whereas Simon stayed back in the kitchen. A lot of assumptions began to form inside Simon's mind. Maybe the trough was hiding a hiker who had gone missing a long while ago. Much before he moved in. He wanted to know what was that, but did not have the courage to make another trip to this scary cabin. However, the handyman was not going to give up after coming this far. Simon decided to inspect the trough from his kitchen. He took out the longest stick he had in his house and decided to deal with the slime from there, only as it was not very deep from his kitchen. The man initially faced some resistance but managed to dissect it. His eyes widened with wonder when he saw something floating above the slime. He posted on Imgur. Turns out it was just a tangle of roots soaking in the rusty water. But we also seemed to have some of the Super Mario movie fungi. Looked pretty sinister, dotted with gooey drops of who knows what sort of noperi. Well, that was not the end of their peculiar journey. In fact, that was just the beginning. They were yet to stumble upon his biggest discovery. Simon wondered, what purpose did the room serve? Maybe the room was built as a cellar for cleaning game, maybe. Cold storage. A bunker. Just when he thought he had found everything, John saw another hole carved in the room's back wall. The back wall had a little opening, wrote Simon. The hole was about a foot tall and a foot wide. It was not a very big hole. Maybe this secret room had another secret room. This place was giving away strange and scary vibes. It was getting scarier by each discovery. Was it a warning? A warning to stop right there. However, the man did not stop there. He squeezed into the secret room with a racing heart. Well, the man must not have expected what he saw inside that room. The room was occupied by a pile of ash. It was strange, as the room had no furnace around. He could not locate any source of these ashes in the room. How did the ashes get there? The ashes alluded to something sinister. Maybe something unfortunate had taken place inside this hole in the past. But now there was no way they could figure out. Now there was nothing left to explore, and so they made their way up the floor through the ladder. Simon's dog was waiting for them in the kitchen. He too wanted to know what did they discover. He came out of the secret room and decided to board it. So no one falls through into the underworld, he wrote in his post. Looks like we're just going to leave that closed for now and brainstorm possible uses for when the time is right. Once again, he pulled the table over the door. But this time not to restrain his urge, but to keep away from that mysterious thing. Simon had no interest in knowing what those ashes were made of. He loved his house even after this weird incident. Fortunately, there was nothing threatening in the basement. The secret room that he feared so long was nothing but an empty space beneath his floor. Simon named the secret room as the Hell Room at the time he posted the story on Imgur. There was another update on the story in November 2016 in which Simon said that he was going to descend into the room once again to see how could that space be reused. His plan stayed on hold for some time as the man won a free vacation to India. Besides, Simon's hands were full so he could not make time for it. One thing is sure, whenever he would re-enter the cabin, John is going to be with him. So, have you ever found something so unbelievable in your basement? Maybe not. These kinds of things do not happen to everyone. But just imagine how would you have reacted had you found out a door under your kitchen's table. Just like Simon, had you waited this long too?